I will call the meeting to order. Our first item is the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sarah, can you read our mission statement?
The mission of the Marshall Public School District is to educate, support, and prepare all learners for success.
Thank you. Our next item is approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Jeff and a second by Sarah Brink to approve our agenda. Any additions or corrections? If not, I'll call for the vote. And the agenda is approved. Next item is a Tiger Spotlight. I'm going to turn it over to Superintendent Williams.
Thank you. So we have two of our board members that this is their last meeting with us going off before the new members take their office in January. We want to recognize them this afternoon. First one is Anne Marie Vorbach. Anne Marie's been with us for a few months, has been very valuable on the board. We really appreciate having you with us, Anne Marie. So I just want to share the statement, and we have a certificate for you this afternoon. It says, thank you for your dedication to Marshall Public Schools as a board member. We appreciate the work and the service you provided to our school district. Your contribution to education will have lasting impacts in our community. Really appreciate your service.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so we have a certificate we're going to present later at the end of the meeting. We'll do some photos and that sort of thing. So, the other board member that's going off today is a face that I think all of you know. Bill Swope has been in public education for over 50 years, and this is Bill's final board meeting with us. So we want to certainly recognize that, and we have a presentation for Bill as well, and I want to just share a little statement. It is my honor and my privilege to recognize someone who has given an extraordinary amount of their time, energy, and heart to Marshall Public Schools. For over 50 years, Bill Swope has been a steadfast advocate, a guiding light, and a true champion for our students, staff, and community. Bill, your service has been nothing short of remarkable. For more than 5 decades, you have brought wisdom, dedication, and an unwavering commitment to ensuring that every student in our district has the opportunity to thrive. You have seen the district grow and change, and through it all, your focus on what truly matters, the children, has never wavered. Your leadership has shaped not just policies and decisions, but lives. You've inspired countless students, supported dedicated educators, and helped build a stronger community. You've been there to celebrate our successes and to navigate our challenges, always with grace, integrity, and an eye toward the future. We often talk about the power of education to make a difference, and you have exemplified that truth in action. Your legacy will continue to echo in the classrooms and the hallways of Marshall Public Schools for generations to come. On behalf of the district and the community, thank you for your extraordinary service, your immeasurable impact, and your deep devotion to Marshall Public Schools. We are forever grateful.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It has been a gift. It has been a privilege and an honor. I've had great parents and kids and staff to work with over these many years, and it's just been, bottom line has been the success of our kids, and that's puts a smile on my face every day. So thank you for the opportunity to serve you.
Thanks, Bill. I'd just like to add, if I don't get emotional, I've never met anybody that connects with kids the way Bill does. And when you make a connection with kids, then you can start to teach them how to read and do math and write and all that stuff. But he still asks me about my girls who are all in their 30s that he had. So, very special man. So thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Mayor.
I don't think there's a kid that Bill worked with where he can't tell you which building he was in or something about them. And it's I can't remember what I did yesterday. And Bill doesn't forget a one. So it's amazing.
Thank you. I've been blessed.
All right, moving on to our student recognitions. This is a thing we do once a month. We recognize a student from each building. So how we do this, when your name is called, we're going to go down the line and have each board member read a bio of of what your teacher said. So when you hear your name, stand up so we all know who you are. So we'll start with Anne Marie.
All right, we're going to start off by Parkside, nominated by Mrs. Peterson, is Bronx Body.
The Bronx, just stand
Yeah,
up.
stand
Yep.
up. All right, here's what she has to say. In first grade, we work hard on our writing. I chose Bronx as our star writer as he continuously shows exemplary writing skills. Bronx's writing is a fantastic example of what our first grade star writers can achieve. Bronx so carefully prints his letters in whatever he is writing. He is conscious of his letter formation, spacing, and spelling of the words he wants to write. Bronx always has much to share in the classroom, and it is such a joy to be able to read his thoughts and what he has to share in his writing. I am so proud of Bronx and the writer he is becoming.
Congratulations.
All right, I get Southview, and he was nominated by Mrs. Karen. Elson Castro. Elson comes to school each day excited about learning. He is receiving EL services and is showing great growth in learning English and how to read. We meet daily in a small group, and Elson often encourages his peers and compliments them for their hard work. Recently, during a U-Time activity, Elson volunteered to act out an emotion. His emotion was anger. He really struggled with acting it out because he never feels angry. What a great problem to have. Elson demonstrates many Tiger Pride traits. He has a kind heart and looks out for others. He is quick to give compliments to teachers and classmates. Several times a week, I hear Elson tell someone, "It's okay, accidents happen." For these reasons, I would love to see Elson acknowledged publicly. Great job, Elson.
And from the middle school, nominated by Ms. Gerke, Riley Anderson. The sixth grade teachers are proud to recognize Riley Anderson for showing her Tiger traits both in the classroom and outside the classroom. Riley is kind and respectful to staff and her peers and is always willing to help others. She is responsible for completing her work, being prepared for class, and gives her best effort in all that she does. Riley enters the classroom with a smile that is contagious. She is engaged in her learning, is willing to share ideas, and participates in class. She is quite a leader in sixth grade. She is a quiet leader in sixth grade, and this doesn't go unnoticed. Way to go, Riley. Congratulations.
Next up is the high school, nominated by Miss Hoverston, Shauna Borboom. Shauna exemplifies the qualities we strive to cultivate in our students. She is consistently respectful, well-prepared, and eager to embrace new challenges. In her food chemistry class, Shauna has distinguished herself as a natural leader. She effectively delegates tasks within her lab group, ensuring that each member is engaged and confident in their responsibilities. Shauna's approach to leadership is inclusive and supportive. She encourages her peers by asking guiding questions rather than simply providing answers, fostering a collaborative and empowering learning environment. Shauna's kindness, drive, and positivity are evident in all her interactions. Her ability to offer words of encouragement and support to classmates who may feel overwhelmed is a testament to her compassionate nature. Shauna's contributions, both in the lab and the classroom, are invaluable, and her leadership and positive attitude are greatly appreciated by both her peers and teachers. Congratulations.
My student is Nolan Vlamek. He goes to the ALC. He's not able to be here tonight, but his nomination, Nolan is a thoughtful and attentive student. He's made great progress since he first came to the ALC. He does his best even when the work is difficult for him, listens to and incorporates feedback, and seeks out help when he doesn't understand. Outside of his classwork, Nolan has also shown great personal growth since he joined us 2 years ago. He has developed great relationships with staff members and demonstrates maturity and respect for others. He's on track to complete his necessary coursework by the end of the first semester in January, and is looking forward to leaving for boot camp soon after. Staff at the ALC are proud of his progress and his accomplishments, and bless him as he goes into the military service for us.
all you students will meet me back there by that Marshall Tiger banner. I'm gonna give you a certificate and take your picture.
And parents, if you want to step back and take a picture during this time, you're welcome to do so as well.
Did you see him? Oh, it's adorable.
Very cool.
Make sure you take some cookies when you leave.
Yes.
So once you've gotten your pictures, you are welcome to stay. We do have the audit presentation this afternoon, so it'll be riveting. But those of you that don't want to stay for the audit presentation, you are welcome to leave.
Grab some cookies.
Grab a cookie or two.
Or 8.
Oh, funny.
With a big smile.
Good job. I don't usually get cookies, so. Grab this.
Oh, he grabbed the Snickers.
You grab a card.
Those treats do look amazing too, but. I'm guessing Bill wouldn't fight you, but.
All right, our next item is a public forum. Is there anybody from the public want to approach the board? Seeing none, we'll move on to our audit review. Welcome.
All right, I am back for another year, so surprised nobody wanted to stay. Put the kids to bed. My name is Tamara Dietz. I'm with Hoffman and Bropst here in Marshall, and I'm here to present the audit report for the year ending June 30th of '24. The district received an unmodified or a clean opinion for this year under review. To start out, we'll take a look at some of the financial highlights for fiscal year 2024. As the district completed the year, its governmental funds, or your general, food service, community service, building construction, and debt service funds, reported an increase of approximately $493,000. That was mostly due to an increase in the general fund, food service fund, and debt service fund, partially offset by expenditures relating to the district's capital projects. The combined fund balance is up to about $14.1 million at the end of the year. The general fund, excluding your transportation and operating capital, fund balance increased about $1.95 million to just over $7.8 million. That total fund balance amounts to 21% of annual district expenditures, which exceeds your fund balance goal of a minimum of 8%. The district completed and placed into service many projects during the year. These projects included indoor air quality improvements at Parkside Elementary and the middle school, renovating a site to create the Career and Technical Institute, improving the middle school smoke hatch, and resurfacing the football field. Those projects were funded through various bonds, and additional funds came from the general fund. The combined total cost of those projects came in just at about $4.3 million. The district entered into subscription-based technology, information technology arrangements, or SABITAs, as we call them, the short version. And these were for IT software. The cost associated with these was fairly minimal at about $11,000 for the year. Effective at the beginning of the fiscal year, the district implemented a self-insured health benefits plan, which provides medical benefits to employees and certain retirees electing coverage under that plan. So it took it from a third party, like Blue Cross and Blue Shield or Medica, and it brought it in-house. And that is accounted for in the Health Insurance Internal Service Fund. Revenues in that fund consist of charges to other governmental funds along with employee and retiree shares of that coverage. And expenses are for claims paid and administrative fees related to that service. And we would like to congratulate the district for being recognized with a Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting for fiscal year 2023. Looking ahead at the district's future, in the 2023 legislative session, the legislature approved a foundation formula increase of 2% for the fiscal year 25 year that we are currently in. That has a positive effect for the school district in maintaining a balanced budget and helping out with operations. The legislature also approved free breakfast and lunch to all K through 12 students, regardless of family income during the 23 session, which was effective starting in fiscal year 24. Along with those, there's long-term facilities maintenance revenue that was approved in the 2015 session, and that began in the 2017 fiscal year, and it increases per pupil unit each year. That has a significant positive effect for the district, as you have to set priorities as far as maintaining facilities. So that helps cover some of those costs. COVID-19 related funding, once again, did play a factor in your 2024, but they are being discontinued after this year. They had to be spent in fiscal year 24. That additional revenue from the CARES Act offset most of any of the additional costs that we've seen with COVID as far as PPE, staffing, and transportation items. This graph shows the district's enrollment for the last 2 years and then the estimates for the coming 3. And so you can see a slight fluctuation in enrollment. This graph looks like it's really wild, but it actually is in increments of 10, so it's not as wild as it may seem. There was about a 10 student decline from 2023 to 2024. And then there's an increase of about 20 students showing up in 25 to 26, and that's the steep line there. So 20 students, and that's mostly census increases with the younger population in the district. The impact of the district's funding is mainly based on enrollment. And so the district's goal is to maintain stability and grow enrollment. The following graphs that we'll be looking at reference the general fund excluding transportation and operating capital. And this graph shows your fund balance in the general fund in the orange and then the cash balance in the teal color. The fund balance increased from 2023 to 2024 by about 1.95 million. And that's a function of revenues being greater than expenditures. And most of that is due to an increase in earnings from investments, tax levies, increased general education aid and special education aid. And there was school unemployment aid that came in fiscal year 24. That was a new aid. And then there were a decrease in capital expenditures and debt service, and that's partially offset by an increase in salaries and benefits. The adjusted cash balance, you can see increase, but it doesn't always line up with the fund balance, and that is due to just timing differences. So the fund balance is on a modified accrual basis. We have accounts payable, accounts receivable, so the cash may not be in or going out yet. So that's why those don't always line up, but both did increase. These two graphs show the general fund revenues by source. 2024 is at the top and 2023 is on the bottom. And you can see that the largest source of revenue is from the state, that's the gray part. And that is going to be across all districts. The state kind of comes in and supplements where other areas may not make up the entire total of costs. Federal sources of revenue are one of the smallest pieces of the pie, so that's the orange-brown color, but it does cause the most compliance requirements. So if you have federal expenditures over $750,000, then you have to have a single audit, so it's just extra pieces of the audit. And the district has consistently had over that. In fiscal year '26, that amount goes up to $1 million, but if federal funding levels stay where they're at, the district would still need a single audit. Federal revenue did decrease by about 3%, and that was about $920,000. Most of that is COVID spending, so didn't have as much funds available in '24 as in '23. And this is looking at revenues by source over a 5-year period. The orange line is going to be the state revenue, so you can see that is your biggest piece of the pie. The blue line is going to be the federal revenue, so you can see in 2020 that was lower, and then it jumps up in 21 through 24, and that is COVID funding. The large increase in state funding from 23 to 24, even though you did decrease students, state funding went up quite a bit, and that is because of the formula increase. So for fiscal year '24, it was a 4% formula increase. We also seen increases in special ed aid and then some new aids that came in as well from the state. These two graphs are now looking at expenditures in the general fund, 24 at the top and 23 at the bottom. The largest expenditure to any school would be salaries and benefits, and so that's the orange and the yellow. And that is what we would expect. Your job is to educate students, and you need the manpower to do that. So we would expect to see that. And as you can see, the other expenditures, they remain very similar year over year. This is showing those same pieces over a 5-year history instead. And again, we can see the salaries and benefits, the orange and the yellow, are going to be the largest slivers on each of those years. There was a bump up in fiscal year '20 for sites building and equipment, which is in the green. And that was due to safety projects at the middle school and then repair of the high school gym. In '23, that spiked up again, and that was mostly due to special education vehicles and the CTI construction costs. And then in 2024, the purchase services, so the third line, the blue line, that did also increase, and that was mostly due to some repairs and maintenance that were being done at CTI with the building that had blew down, and you guys got insurance proceeds for that, so that's what was covering that. If we look at the areas or programs in which most of the expenditures are attributable, the graph here would depict that. So each program or category is at the bottom, and the colors represent each of the last 5 years. Instructional costs, which include regular education and exceptional instruction, are and have been the majority. So the third line and the fifth, or the third group and the fifth group in. The higher amounts in fiscal year 2020 for sites, building, and equipment. So the second group from the right, that's going to again be the middle school and the west side and repair to the high school. 23 CTI construction costs and a special education vehicle. Fiscal year 24 repair of the CTI building is under there as well. Regular instruction and exceptional instruction, again, district over district is where we would expect to see most of your funds being spent. These tables are going to show budget versus actual results for the general fund, excluding transportation and operating capital. The overall change in fund balance for this fund ended up being about $773,000 better than what was budgeted. And that's mostly due to the insurance proceeds for that CTI building. They were received in fiscal year 23, but not used until 24, and they weren't budgeted in 24. So that was most of the difference there. These numbers here do exclude any right of use activity or subscription-based information technology. So we get a little bit better of a picture because those items go in both revenue and expenses, and they usually aren't budgeted, just because it ends up being a audit difference that we have to account for on our end. The bottom chart shows the ending fund balance as a percentage of expenditures. So prior year 23, we were at 16.7% of your fund balance versus expenditures. In fiscal year 24 was 21%. And fiscal year, when we were looking at the budget revised, it was at about 19%. So we've grown that by about 3% from 2023 to 2024. Moving on to the other funds, the food service fund revenue for fiscal year 24 totaled about 2.4 million and expenditures were about 2.25 million. That resulted in a fund balance increase of roughly $150,000. The fund balance increased due to receiving more state lunch and breakfast program aid for free meals, and it's partially offset by increased contracted labor, food purchases, and capital purchases. What we're seeing with the free meals, there was a lot more participation. Food costs went up this year as well, so this is not out of line with any other district that we audit. The June 30th, 2024 food service fund balance is just over $1 million. Community Service Fund, the total revenues for the Community Service Fund were about 2.6 million and expenditures were just a little over 2.6 million. The expenditures exceeded revenue by just about $20,000, and that's due to negative operations in your school readiness program, offset by positive operations in general community education and ECFE. The community service fund balance as of June 30th is about $900,000. The building construction fund, total expenditures exceeded revenue by 1.575 million for fiscal year 24, and that was due to the spending for acquisition and betterment of school and facilities, and that was bond proceeds being spent down. So at the end of the year, that fund balance was just over $8,000. The debt service fund revenues exceeded expenditures by roughly $264,000 during the year. That increase is due to statutory levy requirements and the mandated funding of escrow accounts. The fund balance at the end of the year was about $2.95 million in that fund. The Health Insurance Internal Service Fund received $3.62 million in charges for services pertaining to health insurance premiums from the participants and other governmental funds, and incurred just over $4.5 million related to insurance claims paid and administrative fees. So the net position at the end of the year for this fund is at a negative $897,000. The OPEB revocable trust incurred a net $69,000 of gain on the investments and paid the general fund about $68,500 for employee benefits. The net position of this fund is at about $740,000 at the end of the year. And that is the end of my presentation. I do want to thank all of the district staff, Sarah, Liana, Tricia, for getting us all of the information that we need. That was a year of transition, so and it went as smooth as it could. They found the information that we needed. Thank you to the board members that we got to bug along the way. So,
Thank you.
yes,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Appreciate it.
Yes, happy holidays, everybody. Suppose you want this. I'll control the board. Board meeting from somewhere.
Next item is approval of the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Sarah Runcie and a seconded by Bill to approve the consent agenda. I will call for the vote. And that is approved. Our next item is approval of the bills for November 24.
Motion to approve.
Second.
The motion by Jeff and a second by Sarah Brink to approve the bills for November. Any further discussion? I'll call for the vote. And that is approved. Next item is the discussion of the treasurer's report. Any discussion on that?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Hearing none, we'll move on. Board forum, any reports or updates?
I attended the Minnesota School Board Association Delegate Assembly. The Delegate Assembly is an organization that allows for the MSBA to lobby at the state legislature for various things that are pitched by the school districts. So there were over 100 resolutions, I believe. Most of them are going to be supported by the Minnesota School Board Association lobbying team. And I think it's really exciting to see and hear about the plans for that lobby effort next year.
Thanks, Sarah. The executive board met, the executive committee, shouldn't say board, executive committee met right before this meeting. We discussed a few things. One was an MOU we're working on with the Education Association. We talked about winter weather, and I'll just read this statement for the public. Marshall Public Schools will close if the forecast for 6 a.m. calls for a wind chill below minus 35 degrees or an air temperature below minus 25 degrees. We've kind of had that as a policy for the last, not really a policy, but a guideline.
Procedure, yep.
Guideline for the last few years. So that's our guideline. We also talked a little bit about the budget and talked about our new board members, which Tim is here tonight with us. So that's all from that committee meeting. Anybody else have anything? I know. If not, we'll move on to our administrators' reports. Jeremy.
All right, thank you. That was a good pinch hit, Matt, because we forgot to talk about who was going to present the exec committee. It's Matt, so he was even on the agenda, so good. A few things tonight. The first thing in my report, I just talked about the finance. So my statement was Marshall Public Schools has a strong track record of fiscal responsibility. We continue to strive to uphold that standard. As costs continue to rise and we strive to ensure our staff and students have the necessary resources, we do face some difficult decisions regarding budget support going forward. We have some reserves and the ability to deficit spend to some extent, but likely looking at some budget cuts in the new year. In the coming weeks and months, we plan to engage in further discussions with the admin team, the finance committee, the school board, and staff to identify needs and priorities for going forward, because it continues to be some questions we have. So appreciate everyone's work with that. Going on down then, Parkside, she shares that in November 11th through the 15th, Parkside celebrated Kindness Week. Each classroom encouraged students to share their best ways to be kind, participate in dress-up days, earn kindness tickets. They ended the week with a celebration that included a kindness ticket winners decorating cookies with high school students. That's always fun. We get to have the high school students and the little kids work together on different projects. I think both sides really enjoy that. Darcy also shares in her report that as part of the literacy program, this is the third year we're using the DIBELS assessment to identify students who are having difficulties learning to read and tracking their progress to determine the best next steps and interventions for them. We give that assessment 3 times a year, beginning, middle, and end of the year as a benchmark assessment, and then we use it as a bi-weekly assessment to monitor students' progress. So as we're getting to middle of the year, that next check will be happening at both elementary schools. Finally, they share in their report that with early childhood on November 22nd, the Turkey Bingo Night was held at Parkside School. It was a fundraising event for early childhood classrooms. We had over 300 people attend this event. They played bingo. It was really a good event. Lots of people I know. Emily said she got to go attend with her family, and a lot of fun. With a big thank you to Turkey Valley Farms, who donated turkeys for area businesses and preschool families for their donations for the raffle baskets and the concession stands. So it was a good evening, lots of people, and some fun prizes. So Southview shares that as part of the READ Act for the staff training, we had the first live Zoom session that happened the end of November. All teachers going through the training, not just at Southview, but throughout the whole district, were participating in that required interactive collaboration time. Teachers are really doing a nice job utilizing that time and going through the training, and that was a good check-in point with the trainers from the state. Pete also shares in his report that earlier this fall, we had children's dental services out. They come up from Minneapolis, coming down to the buildings, and we had them have their first visit at Southview. They provided dental services for many of the students right at the school location. The Southview conference room was transformed into a dental clinic for that day, and they were busy all day long that day. They will be coming back again on, this Thursday to meet some additional needs, and then they'll be at additional sites as we have enough students at different sites to receive those services. That's something that's new this year. Middle school shares that their activities teams are off to a great start with many students participating and showing enthusiasm. Math teams at the middle school have had a successful start to this season, participating in 2 competitions so far. They have 3 teams composed of 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, all of which have placed in the top 10 in both of their meets. Additionally, there are 12 students participating in Knowledge Bowl at the middle school, and all 3 of the teams are experiencing significant success, with one team consistently placing the top 3 at their events. At middle school as well, through the BAR program, they're tracking various data points such as behavior incidents, attendance, and missing assignments. They have seen a decrease in behavior incidents and steady attendance rates. They just began tracking the missing assignments now in December and are anticipating a decrease in those as they focus and have those conversations through the BAR conversations. Finally, at middle school, they share that they're continuing to prioritize culture and climate for both staff and students by providing the PBIS activities. And with PBIS, they hold weekly Tiger Token drawings recognizing positive Tiger traits of respect, responsibility, and pride. At the high school, Mr. Jones shares that on December 4th, a group of CTI students traveled to Watertown, South Dakota, where they participated in the prestigious Weld-Off competition at Lakes Area Technical College. The event allowed not only our students to showcase their skills, but also a chance to get to explore other programs on campus. That was a good visit for our CTI students. He also shares that during the second half of November, Marshall High School celebrated American Education Week. Local Hy-Vee here in town donated cookies for at the high school, but at all of our schools they did for that week. Very fortunate to work in a community where businesses and families support the work that we do on behalf of our young people. Finally, in his report, he shares that over the past several weeks, they've been working to decrease the percentage of students who are absent from school. The student attendance continues to be a very strong predictor of students' academic success. So at each of the sites, we're really having conversations about tracking which students are in school, and if they're not in school, why not, and what can we do to try and improve those attendance rates, knowing that will help improve academic rates. The ALC, Dan shares that we had parent-student conferences in the month with 17% of students attending, or parents attending. They are planning for ALICE training at the secondary level coming up now this week. Dan also shares that current enrollment is at 50 students for the ALC, with 35 of them in person and 15 in our online program. He shares that we do have one of our seniors who has been completely online meet the graduation requirements as of December 9th. So it's one of those students who was a senior last year and had a few things to finish up, came back and finished up school last week. So that was a big accomplishment for the student. It also shares that at CTI, the autos and manufacturing CT programs have been approved for the next 5 years. Those approvals are starting to come through. Looking forward to expand what we can do in our manufacturing programs. And using grant funds and Perkins funds, they were able to purchase a new industrial plasma table and a new generation light metal mill machine. These additions will allow students to create more unique products such as fire pit rings, wind chimes, and trailers. The goal is for classes to produce products for resale, either for the students or to the public. It'll be a first step in creating a school business, so kind of the next step in what we're doing to expand with CT programming out at that location. I know we're really excited about the vision Dan's got and working with the staff and the students out there to make some of these things happen. In her report this month, Jackie shares that she's highlighting Parkside with the K-1 special ed team. The team has been working hard in ensuring the reading special education services are aligned to the second dose of core instruction that occurs within the classroom. That has meant that student goals developed for their IEP plans are adjusted to better align with the ongoing data collection at Parkside. So there's alignment between what's happening in the core and what's happening in intervention. So we're not, for our readers who are struggling the most, especially our youngest readers, they're not getting multiple different things put at them, but we're focusing on the skills that we're teaching with those kids to keep them on track. In activities, a lot of things taking place there. Junior High Knowledge Bowl, actually Peggy talked about that in her report. He also shares that at a recent hockey game, EMS was activated for a second time in a few weeks. And in response to that, Mitch has directed all coaches to review, update, and rehearse some emergency action plans to ensure preparedness for any situation. He throws out a big thank you to our athletic trainers. We're really a benefit to have them around for the leadership and dedication, keeping students safe during those moments. So in response to that need, looking at some additional training and such for that. He also shares that congratulations to the performers and coaches for delivering an outstanding fall musical. This year's production was the most attended in the past 3 years. We had nearly 800 people attend the Christmas story they put on this fall. I know a lot of you had mentioned you'd been there. It was a really nice show. They did again this year there. He also shares that Marshall hosted 6 teams from across the state in a hockey Thanksgiving Classic. Girls won varsity and the boys placed third. Event also saw large crowds for all of 16 games. Finally, in his report this month, he shares that the activities leadership team selected this year's winners for AAA, which is the Academics, Arts, and Athletics Award, commonly called the AAA. High school seniors throughout the state who have a 3.0 or higher grade point average who participate in league-sponsored athletic and fine arts activities. Marshall High School is proud to announce that Josh Liebfried and Allie Peterson have been selected for that this year, so congratulations to them. And the Excel Award, which recognizes a junior for excellence in community, education, and leadership. Marshall is excited to announce that Karsten Springborg was selected for that one. So congratulations to Karsten, Josh, and Allie for their achievements with those areas. In teaching and learning, Beth reports that the CEO class has created their business. This year, they're doing custom crates. The last couple of years, it's been clothing for both years. This year, it's something different. Custom crates is... you can see in the picture on the screen, they have these crates that the kids are building, and over 75% of the products in the crates, including the crates themselves, are from local vendors or handmade by the CEO Young Professionals. Customers can round up their purchase, and the money that they round up goes to a gift basket that will be given to local nursing homes with some pampering things for the local nursing homes as well. So they've been at a lot of local events, and I know on different evenings throughout the week, they're at Graceville, Maryland, downtown, selling baskets as well. So anyone interested in that, you can check them out there or go to the website and get through the CEO site. Also shares that the CTI instructors, Mike Braithwaite and Callie Riley, hosted advisory meetings for the CTI institutes they teach in both classes. Some great conversations were had with local businesses on the current class offerings, plan for the future, and how we can continue the program to get students into their businesses. Appreciate the continued support from those businesses and in the community as we continue to grow and strengthen our programs at CTI. In finance, we kicked off United Way campaign on November 4th. It's been running throughout the month. A new giving opportunity this year for staff also included to the Pride and the Tiger Foundation, and we have had pledges of over $4,000 for those organizations, so thank you to staff for that. And she shares that over the next month, she's focusing on reviewing the current budget and preparing a revised budget to present to the school board in January. We're focusing on any potential cost-saving measures, knowing that we are projected to have a significant budget deficit this year and probably going forward with that. In the final report, Tricia's report, she shares that Warren Buckholtz, our supervisor of building and grounds, who's been with the district for a number of years, has announced his retirement from Marshall Public Schools. Warren's last day with the district is Friday, April 4th, and our goal is to hire a replacement to start in early February so they could have some time with Warren before his last day. We thank Warren for his 27 years of service to Marshall Public Schools, and we're greatly miss him in his knowledge and expertise. We'll probably have him come to a board meeting near the end of his term too, so we can congratulate him and thank him at that point too. That's all my reports.
Thanks, Jeremy. Next item is our second review of policy 610. Just a minute, just lost it. Okay, second review of policy 610. 413-03, 413-04, and 413-06. Any questions or concerns on these? Okay. Next item is our action item, approval of the City of Marshall Joint Powers Agreement.
So moved.
Second.
The motion by Sarah Runcie and the second by Jeff to approve the City of Marshall Joint Powers Agreement.
I'll share that with new staff at both the city and with the school. We took a good opportunity this fall to go through that the agreement and what's in there and all the different pieces and make sure we had alignment in process and procedure. Some really good conversations around it, and we just want to say we appreciate the ongoing relationship with the city of Marshall and through this agreement.
Thank you. Any further discussion? I'll call for the vote. That is approved. Next action item is approval of the resolution authorizing sale of land.
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Anne Marie and a second by Sarah Brink to approve this authorization of sale of land.
So this is an unusual one. This sale of land actually took place in 2007. But there's a strip of land along the back of the parking lot. The map is up on the front.
That was called the railroad.
Yeah.
Yeah. that was
Yep,
the
this
railroad.
lines up where the railroad used to come through town there. It's a piece that had belonged to the school, that was sold to Bob Carr back in 2007. And the Carr family is doing some replotting of that land. As part of that replotting, it was discovered that there was never an official board resolution from the school to sell it. So we need an official board resolution to sell that land. All the paperwork is correct. Other than that, at the city, just the official approval from the school board never happened. So we're asking for your approval on the sale of land that happened about 20 years ago.
All right. I will call for the vote. And now we can sell it.
There you go. There'll be no proceeds.
Too bad we didn't have to go back and find the board members from 2007. to make us come back.
That's right, yeah. Right.
Next item is approval of the Highway 19 drainage easement. I'll make a motion.
Second.
So I'll share with this one. This is a drainage project the city is doing on Highway 19 by Legion Field. This piece of land at one time had belonged to both the city and the school jointly. And a number of years ago, we don't use that field for any of our purposes anymore. So it was completely transferred over to the city. But there are some other existing easements that have both names on them. So in order for the state to approve the new easement, because our name is on some of the old easements, we need to approve this as well. So the city's asking for our approval on that.
All right, there's a motion by myself and a second by Sarah Runcie to approve this easement. Any further discussion? I'll call for the vote. That is approved.
And thank the new director of operations for the unusual board agenda items tonight.
Next board action is approval of the 23-24 audit, which we just heard the presentation of earlier.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Bill and a second by Anne Marie to approve the audit as presented. Any further discussion?
Just want to thank Tamara and her team and our staff for all their work in putting that together. There's a lot of effort to put that together, but it was a really good process with Sarah coming in and just her going through all of those pieces. The timing was good for that.
All right, I'll call for the vote. And that is approved. With nothing else on the agenda, I will adjourn the meeting. Thanks, everybody,
Thank you, Matt.
and especially thanks to Bill and Anne Marie. So.
Thank you.
So I would like to do some pictures, both Bill and Ann.